Great to see you. Thanks so much. Why don't you introduce yourself, tell everyone about your company, and maybe just a couple of words in terms of what you're going to be talking about today.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. Hi, everyone. So I work in an agency called Hug Digital, digital agency based in Dubai with offices in Cairo, in Saudi, and India. And what we're going to be talking about today is influence marketing, how to deal with influencers, how to work with influencers. Let's admit it, you're the home of influencers, from the real foes to, I mean, you have a huge amount of influencers, and it's quite interesting because you're leading the way very much so in terms of the GCC region. So very much, how do we deal with them? How does a brand build a perfect relationship with them? How do you go about going beyond financial, compensations into building strong relationships with them? Because lately it's been turning to become very much of a monetary transaction rather than anything else. So affinity for brands is not being built that much, and we really need to work on that because there isn't any rate card. So what I call influence marketing is sort of media 3.0 because it's becoming a medium whether we like it or not. Thank you.
Fantastic. Hassan, stage is yours.
Thank you very
Please,
much.
Take it away.
Thank you.
All right.
Take care. So, can we go back to the first slide, please? Can I know from the audience here who works in agencies? Can you raise your hands? Perfect. Okay, not bad. I guess it's BBDO, FV7, and a couple of JWT as well. Okay, great. Great. So what we're going to be talking about today is the age of influence. As I said before, we're talking about media 3.0. You guys, I mentioned it, and I'll keep saying it, you're really driving the pave forward. I live in Dubai, but I can see how much you guys have a huge influence on brands in the UAE, brands in KSA, and across the region. So, is it working? Yeah. So when we talk about influence, let's admit that. It's about whenever you're doing something you never expected to do, or you're doing something you never thought of doing it. I advise you to get this book by Philip Sheldrake. It's called The Business of Influence. It gives you really good insights about stuff which you never thought about before. An example of that would be, what led you to come to this conference? Let's admit it. Can I get a couple of answers? What led you to come here? Is it word of mouth? Is it because it's the biggest conference happening in Kuwait, or what exactly it is? Come on, volunteers, anybody? Still early in the morning, but do wake up. Sorry? All the above, yeah? Correct? So you've been influenced in one way or another, be it on the media, be it through contacts, it's happening. Well, go back to 1965. Excuse this visual, I know alcohol is banned here, but let's admit it, it used to happen. So stirred, not shaken. We know that, shaken, not stirred, actually, yeah. James Bond, the famous James Bond. What used to happen in 1965 all the way till, God knows, maybe till now, celebrities used to be paid money in order to create ads, and they used to put them out there. But what's happening lately, in 2015 and onwards, influence is all about getting people to talk with each other. All of you, you'll end up finishing this conference and you'll go out and you're going to start talking about what exactly you learned, what exactly impressed you, what exactly did not impress you, who are the speakers that taught you something new, and all of this will start creating word of mouth. And we can take a look at the Twitter feed over there. Engagement is happening, which is something interesting. And this is what every brand is trying to achieve. But when mentioning influence, when you start talking about influence, I noticed in this region, everybody's obsessed with cloud score, those social platform scoring, and they tell you, hey, I've reached number 5 or number 4, or my cloud is 69 or 68. The reality is, when you're talking about those social scoring platforms, they really are not an indicative of what an influencer you are, or how much influence you have on others, or really how you're performing in the social/online field. Why? Take a look at those people. I'm not sure if all of you know about them. Each one of them is quite known in his field. But can you please tell me which one do you think is an influencer? I'm very interested in a reply from you, gentlemen, from BBDO, because I'm sure you know all of them. So which one is an influencer, do you think? Do you know those people or not? If you don't, I really advise you to take their names and to follow them. But the reason for asking is, if you take a look at Cloud gives you Robert Scoble as being an influencer. When you take a look at Peer index, it gives you MJ Seeger as being an influencer. If you take a look at TweetGrader, it gives you a lot of others, and so on and so forth. But the reality is, all of them are influencers. But what's interesting is each one of them is an influencer in his or her own field. What does that mean? Let's say we're talking about automotive. Some of them are influencers in the automotive industry. We're talking banking. Others are influencers in their own field of automotive. Then we're talking Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all of those platforms. So you can't really use one scoring platform and based on that assume who's an influencer or not. You gotta really be very much digging into who's really an influencer, who's really knows what they're talking about. I'm sure all of you here know the Real Foz or Hamad Qalam or all of those. Hamad, what is he an influencer about? Come on, people, wake up a little bit. Making a fool of himself. Really? Well, he's making a lot of money. All right? The V-View, Valencia. What is she known for? Dances on camera. Okay, we really need to sit one-on-one because you seem not to believe in influencers, which is your right, but we really need to sit and talk about that. Because the more time you take in accepting the fact that influencers are actually doing a great job, you are an influencer, and you're bashing other influencers. That's interesting.
No, it's have value.
Yeah?
Something to present, and then you'll be respected.
So what are you known for?
I mean, spirituality.
Spirituality.
Well-being and spirituality.
Very good. So you're gonna deal with brands like ginseng, like diet centers, and like organic food. Telecoms. I'd be interested in seeing how spirituality and telecoms, all right? Influence is not about number of followers. Let's admit it, lately we've been seeing people with 1 million followers, 2 million followers, and we go like, wow, look at those people, they're amazing. They've got such a huge amount of followers. Please don't go by that. I don't care if they have 1 million or 2 million. What I care about is how much engagement are they getting on their posts or anything they do. Because I'll tell you what, go to any of those influencers with 1 million or 2 million and take a look at the engagement happening there. Guess what it is? Spam. S-P-A-M. Spam. Nothing relevant to the brand, no conversations happening about the brand, and even worse, I would say 1% of the influencers out there are actually engaging with their fans, and this does not help people. So, excuse me for this slide, I'm Lebanese, so I'm a little bit biased. So, in traditional media, influencers are celebrities. Let's admit that. In the era of Nancy Ajram, Haifa Wahbi, and all of those, the internet was hardly picking up. So those people became known for either their songs or their acting or anything of that sort. And suddenly social media started booming. Eventually they got a lot of fans and followers. But they're still celebrities. They're not influencers. In the digital world, anybody with a fan base, and when I'm talking about a fan base, I don't care if it's 50 or 100, but those people are influencers because in one way or another, they're influencing. Be it influencing their family members, influencing their friends, they are acting as influencers. And it's all up to them about how much they start growing their basically share of followers. So who's an influencer exactly? It's anyone with followers. Be it, again, 50, 500, 5 million. Anyone who posts on a regular basis. You can't post one time, then disappear for a week or so, and then post again. You gotta keep the conversation open. You gain a lot of trust from your followers. It's quite interesting. I don't know if you saw that video for one influencer in Saudi. So what happened is he just opened his Snapchat account and he started talking about, this happened about 2 months ago. And he started talking about how ISIS and Jabhat al-Nusra or I don't know what, they started fighting with each other in a city in Iraq. And guess what? The city does not even exist. It was a Thursday evening, and he started posting videos one after the other. Suddenly, Al Arabiya is covering it. Suddenly, what is it called? Sky News Arabia is covering it. The city does not exist. And there's a map that's been created, and with the name of the city there. And ISIS entered on Twitter, and they started talking about how they're winning the war. And then Jabhat al-Nusra went in, and they started talking about how they're winning the war. It stayed like that for 4 days until he wrote at the end, "I'm sorry guys, I was just having fun." So, even though he entertained people, guess what? A lot of his followers are not going to believe next time he's going to be talking about something. And this is actually harming him more than anything else. So be careful about that. When you want to report something, be accurate about it. And this is the kind of influencers we're looking for. And gets a lot of engagement on their posts. Again, engagement and not spam, and not spam. I'm not interested in the abaya that somebody is trying to sell. I'm not interested in the glasses that somebody is trying to sell. And I'm not interested in the sheep that are being sold in Kuwait. Because there's a lot of posts about sheep being sold in Kuwait. And it's a great business, by the way. And they elicit direct actions from their followers. What does that mean? I want my followers to do something. And that's the only reason why I'm a follower. I want them to attend the conference. I want them to go and check out this event that's happening. Like it or not, the real Foz, whenever she's going to an event or anything like that, I saw it with my own eyes, how people go there. I forgot the name of the other lady. But anyways, there are a lot of them who are doing that, and I'm sure you're doing that as well. And most important, you're very knowledgeable about a certain topic. So if I get, again, the real Foz, I'm talking a lot about her, not because of anything, but my friends accuse me that I'm in love with her. The thing is, when you start watching a lot of their Snapchats, you start knowing a lot about their lives, so you become obsessed in one way or another. So I had to delete her so that I maintain my, sanity. Anyways, if the real Foz is promoting about cars, talking about cars, or talking about, I don't know, sports, it does not work. Because the real Foz, everything she talks about is makeup, is hair, is clothes. So she's not really knowledgeable about automotive. If I come and ask her any subject about an automotive car, she wouldn't know how to answer me. So you got to really look at influencers in terms of what they really know about, what exactly they're talking about. So in a nutshell, who are influencers? They're trusted, they're category passionate, they are category knowledgeable, and most important, they try as much as possible to close the buying deal. They try as much as possible to get into that pocket of yours and get you to spend on it, be it spend amount of time or actually amount of money. And when we look at influencers, there are 4 levels of them. I asked you before about what really, guys? Yeah. About what really influenced you to come here. So we've got the celebrities, the Nancy Ajram, all of those. You've got the publishers. One of them is MASHUP. After this event, they're going to start writing. Or 248 AM, one of the most renowned blogs in the country. Then we're talking about fans, so whoever is a fan of a certain brand. And lastly, friends. And the more you go higher, the more you get more reach. By more reach is people getting exposed to it, people seeing the message. And the more you go down the ladder, you get more influenced. Because you trust your family, you trust your friends, you trust your colleagues. So if you want to look at the sweet spot where exactly you need to target in terms of influencers, you got to go for publishers and fans. Because publishers have established credibility. Well, most of them. But again, 248 AM, Mark, I respect a lot. I trust what he writes about. So this is your sweet spot. Next time you're doing a campaign, try to hit on those. And I'll show you why fans, and in an example later on, why fans are super important. I worked recently, about 5 months ago, on a campaign for KitKat. KitKat have always been known for have a break, have a KitKat. And what KitKat decided to do...
Hello, Mom. Hello, Dad. Yes.
No, guys, not yet. What KitKat decided to do, along with their partners, JWT, is to build a campaign where they actually don't celebrate the break as much as they celebrate the people having the break and the different kind of breaks happening there. I'm sure all of you saw the campaign. So what we've done is we've decided we're going to work with a publisher, which is Chris Fade. I'm not sure if you know him, but he speaks on Virgin Radio. Super great. And then involve the fans of the brand. Really get them involved in it. Can you play the video, please?
Hello, Dad. Yes, we are live, and it's a Thursday morning. We've been talking about the type of breaker that we all are. And I honestly discovered yesterday, I know what type of breaker I am. I'm a guy that just wants to go and chill out somewhere exotic. And I don't want to do it alone. Drop what you're doing. Before 10 a.m. this morning, the first 30 people to get here with their passport, we're going away today. Are we ready? We're all going except for Rossi.
So how amazing is that? You know what? No, they didn't do a TV ad that costed them $200,000, $300,000. That thing hardly costed anything, believe it or not. Just about flying the people there, booking the hotels. You think it's a big amount of money? It's not. Producing that video costed what, $5,000, $10,000? So all in all, it costed actually less than doing a TV commercial and actually putting it out there on the media. But when you come and look at the return on the investment that's been done, it's brilliant, because everybody was talking about it. UAE was buzzing about the breaker. So they used the publisher, who kept talking about it on the radio for a long period of time, and then he used the fans of the brand. Those people are going to remember it forever. If you go to YouTube, you'll get to see the other videos that were done there. Absolutely brilliant, absolutely true to the brand, and absolutely true to the fans of the brand. Well, take a look at that example that was done by Vodafone in Egypt. I remember a time when every single brand was obsessed by getting a number of fans. And yeah, great, you know, put for me this cover photo and put for me that I got 200,000. Does this really resonate with your fans? Not really. So what Vodafone did, Bassem Youssef, I'm sure you know him, all of you. So they've worked with the band of Bassem Youssef, who's very well known in Egypt, and they asked him to come up with a song. The words are all relating to how you interact with Facebook and how you check into Facebook every day. And then what they've done is they looked at the top fans on their Facebook page who basically interact with the page, and they send them parts of the script. And they asked them to record themselves and to send the videos back to them. And this is what happened.
Facebook, Facebook, Facebook. Facebook. بروفايلي هو عمايلي بيحكي مغامراتي وستايلي شايلي وفكيري وجوه موبايلي بدل السبب المليون علمت قاعد اعمل ساين ان للفيسبوك كل دقيقة بحن اكاونتي جوه دماغي بيزن بيقول لي ادخل على البيت على طول تلاقينا ابتدي منهم منشور عليها حاجات منكم الوان غسيل افكار بتحوم ابيض اسود او بيج او اسمر عليه اجمد اغنيه وحبه كلام في الميزانيه وصوره الواحده اسمها امنيه مخطوبه لسه بتعمل تاج وستيتس من صفحه قلش افه صاحبي بس ما يتقلش
I can take you through the video. I can give you the link later on. But what's interesting about it, it ended with, thank you for being part of our 2 million fans on Facebook. Guess what? Again, the cost of this video is hardly anything, but the payoff of it was crazy. The other fans on the page, they're like, why you didn't involve us into this? Why we weren't part of it? And this told them that we chose the fans that are more engaging. Again, JWT worked on that, so congrats. It was brilliant. Really, an exceptionally great video that was done. It got a lot of word of mouth going around it, and the fans that were not engaging that much with the brand started engaging more and more with it. So when you look at influencers, as I was telling you, really choose them according to the verticals, be it automotive, be it fashion, be it lifestyle, be it, anything relating. So you've got a lot of categories over there. So you got to group them. And when we look at type of influencers, again, go according to a platform. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, this is really important. And I'll tell you from now, you won't find an influencer that's active on all of those. Very rarely you will. So you'll find mostly on 2 of them, maybe 3, but mostly it's 2 of them. And I'll tell you, take a look at Snapchat, which is the new kid on the block, especially in this market. It's doing really great. Be the first. Q1 2016, Snapchat is coming in heavily into the market. Start looking at how you can integrate your brand in it. And when you look at type of influencers, look at the market you're talking to. And why I say that is, for instance, there's an interesting influencer in Dubai. His name is Sharif. He's Egyptian, and he has a big number of followers and a lot of engagement, proper engagement. But the issue is, the engagement on it is mostly from Egyptians. He's living in Dubai, but most of his followers are from Egypt. So is he really relevant to the market UAE? No. So again, this is where you need to look at who exactly are you targeting. Are you targeting locals? Are you targeting Arab expats, non-Arab expats? And then when you look at non-Arab expats, the UAE is a very tough market to deal with in terms of who exactly are you targeting. Asians, Europeans, Australians, Americans, so on and so forth. So how does a brand go about engaging with influencers? What should they do? What's the first step? Number 1 is relevant. And what I'm talking about that is not content fit, but contextual fit. By contextual is who exactly I'm talking to and where are those people present. If you tell me do a campaign in Saudi on Facebook, I'll tell you no way on earth I'll do that. Why? Because Saudis are accessing their Facebook once every month, maybe twice every month, and that's it. But the platforms they're on are Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, and now Snapchat. Again, the reach. And what I mean by that is they need to have a substantial amount of followers, but more important is the kind of followers they're looking at. So be it political, be it non-political, be it relating to a certain topic, this is extremely important. The engagement power that those people have. So their status inspires a lot of people about what they're talking about, what they're eliciting them to do. And then the age, the gender, the location. I was talking again about Sharif. Sharif is in the UAE, but his followers are from Egypt. So it does matter a lot. Again, apologies for this picture, but we all know how Kim Kardashian basically broke the internet with her famous picture. But whether we like it or not, how many here follow Kim Kardashian? Come on, please raise your hands. Don't be shy. Yes, great. Let me ask you a question. If a steak restaurant came and asked Kim Kardashian to basically be an influencer and promote a campaign for them, would it work? It will work? I hate to disappoint you, but it won't. If you're following Kim very well, you'll know that Kim is actually vegetarian. She does not eat meat. So guess what? People who follow influencers or brands, they know everything about them. Yes, I know everything about the real followers. You can ask me any question except when she goes to the toilet. So this is what a follower means. This is when you start liking an influencer so much that you know everything about their lives. So a steak restaurant coming to Kim and telling her to promote it, guess what? People are not going to believe it, and they're actually going to bash Kim for doing that because they're going to tell her, you haven't even tried the steak to know whether it's good or not. So there's a lot of background work that needs to happen in order to see whether your brand fits with that influencer or not. I'm gonna, during the previous UAE National Day, do the second telecom operator in the UAE. They've done this campaign where they chose influencers. They chose about 14 influencers from the UAE, and they produced this video with them, this song. And I'll explain again why I'm showing it.
المحبة والاتحاد من
So we saw the video, they used the influencers and the Max of Arabia, very well known in the region, Dial Al-Ali, Sharif, and so on and so forth. A couple of months after that, this happens.
I'm Mark Vaslam.
I'm Leia Salonga.
I'm Hrithik Roshan.
وانا اتحداكم
وانا اتحداكم.
And I challenge you.
And I challenge you.
And I challenge you.
and I challenge you.
Great, beautiful video, you know, people challenging others, but what is it all about? So everybody got excited, Etisalat is doing a new campaign. Okay, we want to know what it is all about. The real shock was what happened next. The same influencers that Du had recruited to work on their campaign, suddenly, in addition to many others, but suddenly all of them are promoting the Etisalat campaign. Exactly in a period less than 2 months. So you go to their Instagram account, and you know, you're looking at the feed. You're seeing one post for Du, and then you're seeing one post for Etisalat. What happened? An absolute chaos. People went mad on those influencers, absolutely mad. And they're like, you're becoming money diggers, you don't have any ethics, so on and so forth. 3 weeks, those influencers did not post anything on their platforms. They got scared like hell. They got scared because people marahahumum. People did not spare them a single word of negativity. The campaign went really, really, really bad to an extent that it extended beyond the influencers towards the brand Etisalat. Now, this is a completely different topic, but it really went bad, and all the money that's been spent. What even happened worse is that Du, when they worked with those influencers, and please be careful about that. If you're a Toyota brand and you work with influencers, make sure to sign with those influencers that for a certain period of time, those influencers are not allowed to work with any of your competitors. Du did not do that. And when those influencers went to Etisalat, they didn't have anything binding, so it was great. Etisalat locked them now for 2 years. They're not allowed to work with anybody else except Etisalat. But the downfall of that, the amount of money that was spent on those influencers to work with Etisalat, they've actually, and I say it out loud, they've corrupted the market in the UAE. Now, any influencer you talk to, they tell you a minimum of $3,000, $4,000 for one post. And honestly, I'm not ready to pay that, and I'm sure a lot of you are not ready to do that, because it's becoming a monetary transaction and a monetary relationship rather than a love relationship. The way you look at influencers, you can either decide that they are people who are famous and you work with them, or they're people that you actually discover them. And guess what? The beauty is when you discover those influencers and you start building them to become known, because you're the brand that they will always be loyal to. Win those influencers, please. Get to know who they are. I'm saying this based on experience. I've seen so many brands that they get so excited, yeah, I want to use that influencer. Why? What's the point behind it? Why exactly that influencer? Yeah, because the other brand is working with them and everybody's working with them and they like them. I don't care. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't care. I'm getting my money, my fee as an agency. But this is not the way to go about it. Influencers, what they care about is the status. Don't turn them to become people who are just interested in the money. They're not really interested in the money unless you start throwing the money at them. Build their status. It's a give and take relationship. What you care about is your brand getting exposure. What they care about is them starting to be known, starting to be appreciated for the efforts that they're doing. And move from celebrities. Please, I beg you. Great, those celebrities are awesome. You know, we respect them, we like them a lot. But there's a new generation coming on board. I'm tired of seeing the same faces over and over again, and I'm sure so many of you are tired. Guess what? Start discovering. According to the latest UNDP report, the Middle East region, mostly the GCC, 65% of the population is under the age of 30 years old. We're talking about a baby boomers market, and guess what? Those baby boomers are on their mobiles, right, left, and center. And guess what? They are content creators. They create amazing content out there. Start discovering them, and you'll do amazing stuff. Actually, sorry. Can you go back, please? And one more? No, one more. Yeah. It's a campaign that was done by Mobily, the second telecom operator in Saudi. And so Saudi participated in the World Cup 4 times. And they couldn't participate 2 years ago, I think, in the World Cup. And in order to become a sponsor, you have to pay huge amounts of money. But they wanted to really be part of it. Saudis are known very well. They love anything that has to do with soccer. So what they've done is they've identified this guy who really is perfectly, if you want, relating to the audience of Mobily. And they made this guy travel to Brazil. The World Cup was during Ramadan. I remember every single day, directly after iftar, the first thing I'm doing is refreshing the YouTube page of Mobily in order to watch the webisodes. They produced 30 webisodes of how Yusuf al-Dakhil, this gentleman, which you will see now, he went to Brazil and he created the 5th participation, Musharaka al-Khamsa of Saudi in the World Cup. You'll get to see the results. He's a guy who was not an influencer. He's a guy who wasn't well known. And after this campaign, he gave a lot of, if you want, gave a lot of return on the investment that Mobily did. And in return, Mobily made him become an influencer. And he loves Mobily no matter what.
موبايلي شركة اتصالات أخذت الرخصة الثانية في المملكة عام 2005. موبايلي تسعى لأنها تكون واحدة من كبار شركات تقنية المعلومات في المنطقة، ليست شركة اتصالات فقط.
بما أن السعودية ما شاركت البرازيل السنة هذه، فكرة المشاركة الخامسة هي ببساطة إنه شخص يروح البرازيل ويشارك نيابة عن السعودية.
جاتك السعودية العالمية.
كان مصدر الإلهام الأساسي لموبايلي هو نجاح الكوميديانز في يوتيوب في السعودية.
المجتمع السعودي يستخدم وسائل التواصل الاجتماعي كأكثر الدول في العالم استخداما له، خصوصا عن طريق الموبايل.
ليه لازم نعمل حاجة في يوتيوب؟ لأن احنا بنتكلم كأس عالم. كأس عالم يعني كورة يعني شباب في السعودية يعني يوتيوب.
شركة كبيرة زي موبايلي للأمانة يعني أنا أعطيها كريدت في هذا الشيء، إنه بسبب نجاح البرنامج إنها هي أعطتنا الحرية في الكتابة ومسألة الكرياتيف.
طريقة يوسف كانت طريقة بسيطة جدا. طريقة لعبه للكرة كانت أيام لعب الحارة قبل 20 سنة، فكانت الناس تتذكر كيف كانوا يلعبون الكرة. هذه الشغلات اللي حببت الناس في الفيديو وزادت عدد المشاهدات وزادت من انتشار الفيديو بين الناس.
احنا في موبايلي استخدمنا خاصية ترو فيو من يوتيوب في احنا نوصل أو ندفع إعلانات تساعد فيديو المشاركة الخامسة للوصول للشريحة اللي نبغاها، ومع الوقت الناس صارت تشارك الفيديوهات نفسها.
النتائج الحقيقية تفوقت على كل النتائج اللي توقعناها. كان عندنا 23 مليون فيو، كان عندنا 113 سنة مشاهدة.
نتائج البحث أو عدد مرات البحث عن موبايلي في يوتيوب خلال تلك الفترة تجاوز 32 ضعف ما كان قبل ذلك.
كان عندنا 11,000 سبسكرايبر على اليوتيوب قبل المشاركة الخامسة، حاليا بنتكلم في 240,000 سبسكرايبر.
الحديث عن المشاركة الخامسة تجاوز اليوتيوب إلى العديد من القنوات الإعلامية، الجرائد في السعودية في دول الخليج بشكل عام.
والمفاجأة المذهلة بالنسبة لنا إن إحنا بقينا رقم 1 in terms of YouTube channel subscribers في مجال التليكوم اوبريتورز في العالم. We had a big success with YouTube in 2014 وأعتقد 2015 إن شاء الله يكون نجاح أكبر.
روح جاي أنا جايب نقاط موبايلي.
Whoever did not see those episodes, please watch them. They're hilarious, really hilarious. So, why influence marketing? It's real-time marketing, and what I mean by that is, and I'm not bashing here traditional agencies or anything of that sort, but let me tell you one thing. Let's say you did a campaign. There's a TV commercial in it, so you put it on TV stations, and you put it in the newspapers and outdoors. And the perfect example was Etisalat. They did their campaign, and suddenly a crisis happened. In order for them to reach their agencies and telling them to stop the campaign, remove everything from outdoors, already 2 to 3 days have passed. Yes, that much time it takes. But when you're doing it with an influencer, you can immediately stop a campaign and turn things around. And this is why it's real-time marketing. Second of all, it has proven to be effective on a lot of brands. Of course, in the West, much more than in the Middle East, but in the Middle East, it's starting to pick up. It's a place where your audience is. Again, like it or not, each and every one of you is holding 2 mobiles, if not 3. And it can no longer be a can-do, but a must-do. Okay? You need to test it. You need to try it. Don't be scared of it. And let's admit it, the old way of doing marketing, especially you're going to notice that in 2016. It's a very scary year for traditional agencies because digital is taking over heavily. And then again, I'm being influenced a lot by influencers, and I'm sure a lot of you are being influenced by influencers. A last word of advice from Laura Fitton. She's the head of influence relations at HubSpot. She says, ask not what an influencer can do for you, but ask what you can do for an influencer. Again, it's a two-way relationship and not a one-way. Stop thinking of yourselves, think of yourselves and of them. They're humans at the end of the day. They're not a newspaper, not a TV station, not a radio, not a billboard. They're people. Thank you very much.